Alright, in this video we're going to cover basic functions of Lenovo Yoga, kind of give you an idea of what all the ports and buttons do and how to use the touch screen, things like that. So the idea is to familiarize you with it so you feel comfortable in just the basic functions of it. We'll cover the mouse, some of the different navigational techniques you can use on the touch screen. We'll cover the different modes that you can put the yoga into, and so by the end of this training you'll know how to do all that. So let's start with the what some of the ports are used for. We're going to look at the right side of the Lenovo Yoga, and you can see they have 1 through 8 numbered there, and we'll just walk through them. Number 1 is the tablet digitizer pen or stylus. Our models don't come with that, so you'll just see a black cover covering that, so you don't have to worry about that. Number 2 is the power button. So the power button is a little bit located differently from other laptops. It's on the side there, and it's relatively small, so just to turn it on, all you need to do is depress it and your device will power up. Next to the power button is the volume control buttons, and that's on a toggle. So just toggle, you can push the volume control towards you or away from you, and then the sound will get softer or louder. Number 4 is the screen lock rotation. This is only used if you're using Windows 8, so this doesn't apply to us. This button doesn't do anything. So number 5 is the media card slot. That's where you'd put in memory cards, so memory card from a camera, things like that. I don't see us using this too frequently, but the option is there if we do. Number 6 is the USB connector. So this is probably one of the most common connectors to connect peripheral equipment, whether it's an external mouse, printer, camera, that type of thing. Number 7 is a mini HDMI connector, and this is relatively new. HDMI transfers sound and video through it at the same time. So what we've done on each yoga cart, we're going to include a mini HDMI to VGA dongle, and so if you hook that into that mini HDMI port, the other end will be a VGA, and you can connect that to your projector, and so you can project your yoga screen onto your projector. It might come in handy when you have students doing presentations on their yoga, and you can connect it up and project it. Lastly is number 8. That's the security lock slot. This is used to tie it down to a device. We don't use this in our district. So let's go to the other side of the yoga. On the left side, we have 4 buttons here. Number 1 is your AC power connector. So this is just where you plug in and the device powers up. You'll notice on the carts that all the power cords are hanging from the top, so whenever you put the yoga away, you'll just want to have that power port facing up, and so you can hook it in. Number 2 is the Lenovo OneLink connector. This isn't used in our district. It's covered up, so you don't have to worry about that. Number 3 is another USB connector, again for connecting all kinds of peripheral equipment. And number 4 is the audio connector, and this is for both headphones and microphones. And if you have a headset that has both headphones and microphone, you'll be able to listen to audio and record audio at the same time. So it kind of has 2 features. The mouse on the Yoga is a little bit different than what you may have been seeing. It's all integrated into one mouse, and it's called a trackpad, but it operates very similar to what you're used to. So it still has the left click and right click zones, so you can click anywhere on the left side of the mouse, and it'll take you into a link. So for example, this top news story, I can click on it, and there's 2 ways of clicking on it. I can either depress the mouse, or I can just gently tap on it. So if you gently tap, it'll register a single mouse click. So on the right side of the mouse, we have that right click zone. It's the same as clicking on the right button on your mouse. So I can click anywhere on this right side, and I'll get my right my right-click menu that includes things like print. Another neat feature is with this trackpad, you can press and hold it and scroll. So for example, this website, it has more content at the bottom. So if I go up to this bar, I can press and hold the trackpad down and then scroll with one of my other fingers. And this makes navigating pages a little bit easier. Now there's also a second option for using the mouse and toggling the arrow around the screen, and it's this orange joystick up here. The joystick, if you move it left to right, you can see the mouse move on the screen. However, if you want to click on something, you'll still need to click on it on the trackpad with either your thumb or another finger. So if I want to go into another link here, I can click with my other finger and go. Some people prefer the two-hand navigation as opposed to just the single-hand navigation. Now I'm going to cover the different modes that the yoga can conform to, and that's why it's called the yoga, is because it has 4 different modes that it can transform into. So the first mode is called the laptop mode, and again, it looks like the traditional laptop. So this is good if you need to use that hard keyboard, you're doing a lot of input. The touch screen still does work, but if you again want to do that input and use the keyboard, it's very nice. The next mode is called the stand mode, and so we just flip the device and rest it on the keyboard, and the keyboard actually retracts up into the device so the keys aren't damaged. But this mode is good if you have maybe a group of staff or students and you're watching a video, doing some light consuming. You can see when you touch the screen, it still bounces back a little bit, but again, you'd primarily be using the touchscreen with this. Then you can go into what's called tablet mode, and you just flip the screen all the way down. And so this is what would be considered tablet mode. And this is, you'd primarily be using the touchscreen. Touchscreen still works. You can browse. You can go to any websites. If you want to type in something, you can still use the soft keyboard. So we can hit an input field and a little keyboard area pops up, and we can push that keyboard and your keyboard will pop up, and you just have to type in what you'd like. You can make the keyboard disappear by just hitting the red X, and you can see it actually is just hanging out on the side of your screen there, so you can swipe to get it back out. And again, you can hit X to make it disappear. The last mode I want to cover is the tent mode. To put the device into tent mode, you just separate the screen from the keyboard area and rest the device on its edges. And this is, again, primarily you'll be using the touch screen. But when you touch it, it forms a little bit more rigid. Remember in the stand mode, it was a little bit bouncy when we touched it. So if you're going to do a little bit more on-screen work, the tent mode is probably what you'd like to use. So you'll notice that the screen is upside down right now. In order to correct that, we can go back to laptop mode and push Control, Alt, down arrow, and that flips the screen orientation 180 degrees. So if we go back to tent mode, you'll see the screen's in the right area, and we can work on it. Whenever you'd like to go back to any other mode, you can use a similar combination of keys. And Control, Alt, this time use the up arrow to flip it back. And we're back into that normal orientation if you're going to use any of the 3 other modes. So those are the 4 modes of the yoga: the laptop mode, the stand mode, the tent mode, and the tablet mode. So the next thing I'd like to cover is a couple different navigational techniques when you're using the touchscreen, and it's really similar to a smartphone. So if you have a smartphone, a lot of these touchscreen techniques are going to be very similar. The first one I want to talk about is the tap. So the tap is basically equivalent to a left click on a mouse. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on, we're on the Smithsonian website, I'm going to tap on one of their links, and you can see we go to it just like we would if we were clicking on the left mouse button. The next item I'd like to cover, technique I'd like to cover, is the touch and hold. And if you touch and hold, you'll actually touch, hold, release, and then your right click menu will come up. So again, this is equivalent to clicking the right button on your mouse. Next, I'd like to cover the drag, and I have a couple applications open down here. I have a Microsoft Word application open, and then I have a Microsoft Excel application open. And you can see if with drag, all you have to do is press and hold, and then move your finger, and the image or window will follow you. So I can press on this Microsoft Office application, and it'll drag around the window. Next, I'd like to cover swiping and sliding. So we're back onto the Smithsonian website, and you can see there's content below us, and we want to get to it. So we can simply just move our fingers vertically up and down to navigate through the website. Now, this doesn't have a left and right or a horizontal toggle, but to show you that, I'll go to the Microsoft Excel workbook, and we can scroll to the right, we can scroll horizontally, and we can scroll back. So that's your vertical and horizontal scrolls, or swipe and slide. The last thing I'd like to cover is the zoom in and zoom out. So if you'd like to zoom in, say we're going to zoom in on this picture, you put your fingers together, push them against the touch screen, and then pull them apart. So what that looks like, put our fingers on the screen, pull them apart, and then that image or that area of the screen will zoom in. If we want to zoom out, so we want the image to get smaller, we do the exact opposite. So we put our fingers on the screen far apart, and then we bring them close together. So what that looks like is I'm going to put my fingers on the screen and then bring them close together, and then we'll go back to the normal zoom level. So those are some navigational techniques that you can use when operating the touch screen.